I'm here, you're here, so that can only mean one thing. You didn't have enough free time this weekend to watch all of the insane fights that happen around the world outside of the UFC and major organizations, of course, and you want to get caught up on some crazy fight highlights. So thanks to our good friend Caposa, who you can find on Twitter at Grabica_Hitman, we're bringing you a list of those highlights so you can go brag to all your friends. What's up, everyone? I'm the casual, Lawton Vierkant, and this is Caposa's Corner. We're starting off this week at Deep 100 Impact in Tokyo, Japan, and we have not only one or two, but three of Caposa's KOs of the week. First, we have Daisuke Nakamura against Jintaro Ushiku. And in case you don't recognize Daisuke's name, he is a Japanese MMA legend who has fought everywhere from Pride to K1, Dream, etc., and has been in the sport since the early 2000s. And this fight has something you don't see every day, a double headbutt. Now, this one wasn't on purpose, which is what makes it so bizarre and puts both fighters down for almost 2 full minutes. After the restart, though, is when Daisuke comes in full force, and it only takes him, about 3 seconds to land a beautiful knee to the chin of Jintaro, instantly laying him onto the canvas. The smoothness in his knee makes up for the weirdness that was the double headbutt that almost stopped the fight earlier. Staying at Deep 100, we have a second KO of the week between Satoru Kotalka and Zhuri Ohara. Satoru, another Japanese MMA legend who primarily has spent his career in Pancrase, is trying to stop Zhuri's 2-fight win streak. Satoru has over 20 submission wins in his career and is trying to stay true to that record by attempting multiple leg locks on Zhuri early in the first. Those unfortunately don't seem to work out for him, and that's when things start to go downhill. Zhuri lands a stunning quick jab and then finishes his opponent with a massive stomp. And as I watch this, and as Caposa said about this fight when he sent it our way, how is this sport legal again? Either way, crazy knockout. With the final KO of the week, we see Yamato Fujita facing Kazuki Shibuya. Despite his 8-8 record, Kazuki is on a 4-fight win streak and Yamato is on a 3-fight win streak, and both men are fighting as if this fight was for a belt. Which is good, because it is. The Deep Interim Flyweight Championship belt, to be exact. Yamato finds a weakness early on in the fight with deadly calf kicks and decides to put all of his attention on them, collapsing Kazuki multiple times in a row, only for the last one to end like this. What an absolutely terrifying kick to end the fight, and just like that, Yamato claims the interim flyweight belt. Moving on to our friends at One Pride MMA, we have their Fight Night 42 event in Jakarta, Indonesia, which sees Alex Munster facing Rudy Gunawan. Both fighters only showing 1 loss on their record and plenty of KO TKOs for each. We see what seems to be a normal back and forth first round and are hoping for a big finish in the second. Well, we sure did get something from the second. What I can only explain as being completely gassed, both fighters just don't have anything left in the tank. Between the lazy walking, the throwing punches like they're in a mosh pit, and overall just exhaustion seen on their faces, Munster finally lands a big punch to send Rudy to the ground, only to mount him and finally get the stoppage. This was truly so bizarre, we just had to include it today so you all could experience this as well. Next, we are going to Krasnoyarsk, Russia for the professional fighter selection, where Yukajon Akabirov is facing Radion Semenchuk, and both fighters are tied at 1-1 in their records. One of the best things about this segment is what could be the potential of all these fighters. Early on in their career and fighting like they want to be at the top, we get crazy fights like this one. It is an absolute brawl. and Radion finally lands the big ending knee to put a stop to this fight, growing his career to 2-1 with this performance, and for his record's sake, hopefully he can continue to keep getting finishes like this. Staying in Russia and moving to Chechnya, we have the ACA Young Eagles 17 Grand Prix, which saw 26 total fights. We have Abdulkapar Kaparov making his pro debut against Ramazan Yuzyasharov, who only has one pro fight under his belt. Now, submissions aren't rare for us to see here, but what certainly is the way Ramazan holds this guillotine. Starting off in the standard position we see all of the time, but once they fall, Ramazan does not let go and continues to hold tight while they move to the ground in an unusual position. And as if it wasn't tight before the fall, you can just see Kaparov had no chance once the guillotine was locked in and tight. Ramazan moves to 2-0 as a pro and hopefully can keep this momentum going along with beautiful submissions like this one. For another card in Russia, we are now in Voronezh for MMA Series 26, where Evgeny Paskatin is facing Nurel Amanov. Here, we have a heavyweight bout, so as always, expect some big hits. Amanov is actually making his pro debut and is looking solid as he rocks Evgeny just a little over the 1 minute mark in the first round. And I'm not sure if Evgeny was playing possum or was truly rocked, but either way, he gets his second win and throws some devastating blows to Amanov that send him to the ground. Evgeny climbs to a 2-0 record and can hopefully keep it clean for his near future. So we just can't seem to get out of Russia today, but for our last event there, we have Open Fighting Championship 2 in Samara, Russia, where Danila Prikaza is facing Nodar Kudakashvili. And fun fact about Danila, he actually trains with Islam Makhachev out of Fight Spirit Team and holds a 13-4 record going into this fight. Only 40 seconds into this fight, we see Danila throw a question mark kick right to the eye of Nodar. Visibly affecting him, the ground and pound seals the deal for the win, and then we get a glimpse at just how dangerous the question mark kick was. It almost happens so fast in real time, but the slow-mo replay lets you see just how quick Danila feinted the first kick in order to land that beautiful head kick that splits Nodar's eye open. He climbs to a 14-4 record, and we can definitely see more of him in the future. For our last fight in Russia, and at the Open Fighting Championship, we have Matea Santos against Alexander Volodin. Another fun fact from this card is that Mateus trains at Tata Fight Team in Rio de Janeiro alongside Thiago Santos. Now, I can explain what happens in this fight, but I would rather you watch it and try to guess. Any guesses? So let's break this down with some slow-mos. Alexander actually gets Mateus into an Omoplata, which is extremely rare to see as is, and while almost being submitted, Mateus counters with a toe hold and uses his own neck as the fulcrum to crank his opponent's ankle and causing the tap. Caposa said this has possibly never before been seen in MMA, and I think he just might be right. On to our last fight of the week, we are visiting our good friends at LFA in Park City, Kansas, USA. This is a bout between Stephen Wynn and Jorge Juarez. Jorge has a 4-3 record going into this fight, and Stephen has a 6-1 record and also trains out of Fortis MMA alongside Diego Fejea. And we haven't had a super quick finish yet, so you know we had to save this one for last. After a fast-paced 30 seconds in round 1, Wynn sneaks in a fast and dangerous right directly to the chin of Juarez, sending him unconscious to the canvas and partially frozen in place. With the replay, you can see that Juarez went for a huge left, but unfortunately went high, and Wynn snuck the devastating blow to end the fight. Wynn is now 7-1 after this fight, and he is someone we can see on the world stage sooner rather than later. Thank you, thank you, thank you, as always, to Caposa for yet another great week of fights. And please go give him a follow on Twitter at Grabica_Hitman, and also support him by checking out his Patreon at patreon.com/Caposa. And a massive shout out to all of these amazing organizations and the fighters we covered, winners and losers, and we will see you all on the next video. Peace!